Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 7 of this writing review series that we have going on the channel. I hope that you guys enjoy watching these videos and learn a couple of things along the way in preparation for your exam. This week's writing has been sent to us by Layla from Lebanon. Let's go check it out, guys. Okay, so I think it's a good idea to start, as always, by reviewing the topic. The topic for this week was, these days, more and more adults are spending their time playing video games. What are the causes for this trend, and do you think this is a positive or negative development? So it's a two-part question. What are the causes, and then do you think it's a positive or a negative development? So we start with the introduction. These days, video games have transformed into a great hobby among youngsters. Okay, so it's a great hobby, but I wouldn't say among youngsters. Let's go with for, right? It's a great hobby for youngsters. Or I've seen the word youngsters being thrown around, so instead maybe we could say for young people, but then there's really nothing wrong with youngsters. But it's a little loaded in the sense that if you think about the connotation, youngsters is used in specific situations. So, for example, you might hear an old person say, "Oh, these youngsters," you know? So, again, it's not wrong because it's not only used in that way, but I urge you to always pay attention to the specific connotation that a particular word has. The second sentence says, this essay aims to introduce some reasons why video games are trending, and don't know why there's a period here. I will explain why I personally believe that playing video games is a negative development. Okay, so you see we have a hook at the beginning, and then we have this sentence that's telling us what the essay is all about and what we're going to read in the following paragraphs. And so we had two parts in the question: what are the causes, and do you think this is a positive and negative development? And we have a reference to both of these reasons why video games are trending. Great use of the word trend as a verb. And I will explain why I personally believe that playing video games is a negative development. Now, sometimes I hear students say, "Oh, is it okay to use I in our writing?" And the answer to that is, if you're doing it in your introduction, and if the question specifically asks for your personal opinion, then yeah, it's fine. In fact, sometimes I've seen people jump through hoops trying to avoid using the first person pronoun I, which I really don't recommend. Okay, let's go to the first body paragraph. One important reason why youth spend more time with playing video games is that the new generation grew up with these games since they were children. Okay, that's a pretty good reason. Yeah, all the people you see playing video games these days, these are the same people who used to enjoy video games in their childhood, right? Okay, so that's a great idea. Now, you spend more time with playing video games? No. If you follow spend time with a verb, then you don't need a preposition. So let's get rid of that. Let's read it again. One important reason why youth spend more time playing video games is that the new generation grew up with these games since they were children. Okay, so we don't want to make the sentence too long, and also, whenever you can, use pronouns. So instead of repeating this, you could just say, is that they grew up with these video games since they were children. Okay, in fact, they found it to spend their time with their peers who like this manner for gathering. Okay, let's check that sentence again. In fact, they found it to spend their time with their peers who like this matter for gathering. I'm not sure exactly what this sentence means. And you know, guys, As much as paying attention to grammar and vocab and stuff are really important, you see, this is the red line. If the examiner cannot understand what you mean by a sentence, that's when your score is going to get hit really, really hard. Now, I can guess what Layla wanted to say. She probably wanted to say that, they spend their time with their peers and, it's an excuse for them to get together. But the way it's written right now, it's very hard to say whether what I just said, my interpretation, is correct or not. So we can let me try to render my own sentence here. So we could say, in fact, they use games as an excuse to get together with their friends and enjoy their time, right? Okay, so something like that. Okay, then we have additionally. Now, before we move on, think about what the main idea was. The main idea in this paragraph was that they spend time playing video games because they grew up playing video games as kids. And then this sentence right after says they use these games as an excuse to get together with their friends and enjoy their time. This really doesn't directly support this idea here. So if you want it to support the idea, it has to be about their childhood, right? So you could say, in fact, many adults, right, spent or used, you want to use the past to show that they did this as when they were kids, used games as an excuse to get together with their friends and enjoy their time. Okay, so that's a little better. Now that we're putting it in the past tense, we're clearly showing that this is something that they used to do while they were growing up. Additionally, youngsters usually compete together to make a thriller and delightful night after past a hard day. Okay, so again, we have the word youngsters. I'm gonna let this slide as many times as it may repeat, but usually compete together. No, you don't compete together, you compete with each other, right? So remember, you compete with someone. So they compete with each other to make a thriller and delightful night. So we could say to have a memorable night. It doesn't have to be a night. It's just because it's in the original, with their friends. And then when you use after, you have to follow it up with ing. So it's after passing a hard day. Passing might not be the best verb. And I know, we don't want to go with a verb that is with a different verb, but we could go with after going through a hard day, right? That's a much better verb to use here. A further reason why video games are trending among adults is that these games lead them to release their energy in a safe environment. Okay, that's a good one. That's a nice second main idea. In addition, in many cases, they found these kinds of video games to manage their anxieties. Okay, so they found. Why found? So you could possibly say they find, because it's a general fact, these kinds of games helpful. Okay, and then helpful in managing their anxiety. And so anxiety is uncountable, so you just use it that way. Moreover, they can take special time for themselves without any disturbances. Okay, not take time, so they can maybe devote a special time to themselves. So you see, you devote a time to themselves without any disturbance. So instead we could say without being disturbed. Okay. I think now, so we covered the reasons. Now we want to move on to the paragraph where the writer's own opinion is stated. So I think that spending more time for video games is negative. Okay, so you don't spend time for video games on, or I think spending more time. You don't want to say more because we're not comparing it with anything. So spending a great deal of time playing video games is negative. First of all, it could cause some violent behavior. Okay, so that's the first reason why the writer believes that it's negative. Additionally, some of the young people playing more video games involved addiction, or some of them lead to sleep deprivation. Okay, some of the young people playing video games, now you don't want to be too absolute either, may become involved. I don't know. Why would you become addicted? You might become addicted to playing the video games, but when you say involve addiction, other scary thoughts come to mind. So maybe instead we could say playing more video games may cause an addiction. Okay? It may cause an addiction, or some of them may lead. Again, you want to go with may lead, and it's not some of the games lead to, it's not like the type of game has that type of effect. So, or it may lead to sleep deprivation. Secondly, playing video games requires sitting for a long time. It doesn't require, because you could possibly do it standing up, right? So let's go with involves. Playing video games involves sitting for a long time. Or if you know an expression like for an extended period of time. That's a nice little expression, which is causes some pain in their body. You don't need a to be verb for cause. So which causes some pain in their body. Okay? And you don't want to be too absolute again. So which usually causes some pain in their body. Furthermore, if the time of playing is over than normal, okay. So you don't want to say over than normal. You want to say beyond normal. Okay? So if the time, and it's not the time, it's the duration, right? So there's a difference between time and duration. So if the duration of playing is beyond normal, the shape of bones in the back. Okay, what are the bones in the back? They're the spine, right? The shape of their spine and neck is impacted. Okay, so we don't know if it's definitely impacted. So instead, let's tone it down, guys, and say it can be impacted. Gradually, the eyes are exposed to damage. They're not exposed to damage. They are damaged, right? The eyes, so we can say gradually the eyes become damaged. So become damaged as a result of indulgence in playing video games, or as a result of indulging in video games, right? So you indulge in video games. So that's a nice structure right there. Okay, and then finally we have the conclusion. To conclude, spend more time over time playing video games have some reasons, such as they're used to this lifestyle. Okay, so again, you see the verbs are super important. First of all, when you have a subject, you go with ing, spending more overtime. So spending a great deal of time playing video games, have or has. You see, it's spending a great deal of time playing video games. It's not video games. That's not your subject. So pay attention to subject-verb agreement here. Spending a great deal of time playing video games has some reasons, such as they used to this lifestyle. Okay, so you need a noun. Okay, so has some reasons, such as. Now, when you say such as, you can't follow it up with a full sentence. Instead of saying they used to this lifestyle, so you could say such as force of habit or just habit, and it causes release their energy and they avoid anxiety. So what can we say instead? So instead of having this full sentence, we're going to say such as force of habit and relief or anxiety relief, right? So let's just go ahead and use it in the form of a noun like that. However, I personally think it is a negative development due to some bad effects on the body and violent behavior. And then at the end, due to causing some bad effects on the body and violent behavior. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this writing correction episode, and let's take a look at the topic for next time. So the topic for next time is, some people believe that staying in a hotel while visiting a foreign country is not a good way to know the country and its people. Do you agree or disagree? As always, you can send your writing in to info@fasttrackesl.com, and maybe your writing will be included in our next episode. Once again, thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next